All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met with the meeting of the West Morris Regional High School District Board of Education. Notice was sent to the Morris County Clerk and the clerks of the municipalities comprising the regional district. They will daily records, ledger. Notice are also posted in the district communication of West Morris High School, West Morris Middle High School, on the West Morris Regional website. Mr. Button. Mr. Morris. Here. Ryan. Here. Mr. Met. Here. Mr. Johnson. Here. Mr. Luan. Here. Mr. Shar. Here. Mr. Strand. Here. Master Allworth. Do you have a form?
I think that. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October meeting? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
As you're all aware, on October 30th, we lost Josie Irwin, a student from West Morris Central, in a tragic automobile accident claiming 2 lives. Josie touched many, many lives in the district, and I want to begin by extending our deepest sympathies to her family and to her friends. I would also like to thank the various clergy and faculty who helped counsel grieving students on that day and helped us get through it. I particularly want to thank Jeff DeLillo, Mike Brewers, and all of our efforts on that particular day. I also want to acknowledge our own board representative, Madison Allworth, who helped organize the student remembrance after school last Wednesday. That was particularly touching. So I'd like to begin this evening with a moment of silence for Josie Irwin. Thank you. Perhaps one of the most exciting things to happen in our schools in a long time was the New York Times coverage several weeks ago of Mendon High School graduate Maggie Noyes' efforts in building an orphanage and a school in Coquitlam Valley, children's home in New York. I've always thought that to get a letter printed in the New York Times, I could perhaps die happy, and for Maggie to be on the cover of the Times Magazine is a great testament to her efforts and to her accomplishments. And I think that it's very important that you realize that this article contains so much information that can be used in every class. And I've got copies of the article here that Maggie's dad, Mr. Moore, gave me. He's in the copy of them. I know that our librarian has placed them in the library with printed copies, and I know a number of teachers are using the article to teach a variety of lessons in a variety of different disciplines. And there's something for everyone to learn about in this particular mission. In addition to that, you can support Maggie's efforts to continue to work on both the orphanage and the school by wearing blue this Friday and donating to linknow.org. It's going to be an organization that's looking to contribute $1,400 from our district to Maggie's efforts. So at the upcoming meeting, you can see me and get information about how you might want to contribute $10 to this particular effort. On this Friday. Also this Friday, it marks a continuation of our partnership with our sister schools and our relationship to sister schools in urban areas. West Morris Central will be hosting students from Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem to hear a presentation by local veterans of foreign wars about their military experiences, and then go on to accompany Central students to their classes for the rest of the day. I know that students from both schools always look forward to these exchanges, and they gain a great deal from them. And I particularly would like to thank Roseanne Chapman for her efforts in arranging these. On that very same day, Mendon will be hosting students from our other sister school, American History High School in Newark, in a unique event. Our students will be viewing a documentary about the lives of Muslim American youngsters. The documentary is called Abraham's Children. And when they're finished viewing it, our students will have a chance to meet with the producer and the Director of Documentary, Unikoria. I want to thank Dr. Catherine Kremens for her efforts in putting this together. And I think that this partnership between our two schools represents some of the best practices that exist in public schools today. I've written and I've invited Governor Christie and Mayor Cory Booker to the event, perhaps have our own Oprah moment with that. But I know that they probably can't make it given their schedules, but there are a number of members of the press that are interested, and I think if any members of the board would like to be at either event on that day this Friday, please let me know. Any questions?
I had a chance a few weeks ago to see one of my former students' parents, one of the benefits of living in the and she told me about how, she gave me an update on her daughter. And her daughter was a fantastic student. She was really remarkable. She went on to Columbia, graduated a few years ago, double major in Arabic Studies and History, Phi Beta Kappa, and magna cum laude. Just a remarkable, accomplished student. But what's really remarkable is what she told me next, which is what Mary Ellen was on after graduation. And I think that that's something, that's a message that we're really trying to send to our students. What are we going to do with this education? Taking this and using it for a positive contribution in the world. And we're working at that. And Marielle did just that. After she graduated, she got on a plane, she went to the West Bank, and she taught Palestinian kids and Israeli kids. She faced great difficulty and hardships, had to come back. Got involved in AmeriCorps. And they got accepted through this program at Georgetown to study Arabic in Qatar, one of the 5 Americans to get selected for that program. 30 people in the world. Just a remarkable product of our school district. And I think that that is something we're really striving for. And I don't think society always sends that message to our kids. I think sometimes the pressure is to be a hoop government, to do whatever you can, to jump through any hoop to get to a certain spot. And we're trying to avoid that. Here, we're trying to produce leaders for the next century. And there's a big difference between the two, being accomplished and being a leader. And so when we talk about leadership and what we're trying to do with kids, we're talking about creating a respectful mind, original thinkers, kids who can make independent decisions, judgments, kids who have a sense of self-efficacy that they can take on in the these are the attributes that we're trying to inculcate in kids. And the reason why I bring it up with our new teachers here is I don't think you produce kids with these qualities unless you have teachers with these qualities. And that's hard thing to find. It's a complex job. It requires tremendous stamina. It's so hard to do the job. And you have to go out and find it. So I want to take a minute and talk about how we hire, how we find teachers in the process. The first thing I just want to say, we have to go out and establish relationships with the colleges that are out there. I was on the phone today with Teachers College, Columbia University. We have relationships with the group. We go down to TCJ every year, Rutgers. I've been to Delaware on recruiting teachers and other events. And I kind of see that as my job. Try to go out and find those qualities in people and try to bring them back to the district. Now, once we do that, of course we advertise on the internet, and once we do that, we start the interview process, which is a whole other reason. So we hired 4 history teachers last year. So Roseanne Lachat and I spent a lot of time together, and I invited her here tonight to try to just talk about the process of interviewing candidates and how we reach the
Good evening. How do you produce a Maggie Doing and how do you produce a Marielle? And we hope that the new teachers who are here and the veteran teachers have an experience in their career that allows you to meet those kinds of students and nurture those kinds of students. So you got to talk about the exciting end, and I'll talk about the more mundane, step-by-step process that we go through to hire new teachers. Again, we hired 4 teachers. We replaced 2 retirees who were magnificent contributors to our district, and we have 2 women who are out on maternity leave, so it was a great deal of responsibility for us to find people who could step in and keep that ball rolling. We're very proud of our history department, and we certainly didn't want to see anything sort of fall by the wayside. Matthew has put into place a process that worked. It was a long process, so I have lots to tell you, but I think in the long run we found some wonderful, wonderful candidates. Matthew received hundreds of applications. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of about 400. In addition to that, as he said, he's gone out to local universities and colleges to have job fairs and to interview candidates there. He spent a great deal of time looking at those packages that were sent and then narrowed it down, perhaps about 45, I think, or maybe even 50. Sent them to me, I'm a teacher in the history department, and to Ann Steffen as well. We looked at these packages, we narrowed them down independently, met together and talked about our top candidates. And what we found, maybe not surprisingly, but was that we agreed on most of the top candidates that we wanted to bring in for the interview process. For the public who is here, students who are here, board members who may not know what it is we receive from candidates, it's a great deal of information. We get a cover letter that, while often is brief, can be very telling about the talent of that particular candidate. It certainly speaks to writing ability. It also speaks to passion. We found we kept going back to those cover letters time and again to sort of find those clues about who that candidate might be. The packet also includes a transcript that shows every course that candidate has taken at a college level and grade that person has taken. So we get a real sense of their academic ability and their